Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2020. I'm Atlas, joined by LS. We have DAMWON versus SANDBOX coming up right now. SANDBOX playing to keep themselves alive. There is a chance that they can stay in the LCK or not have to go to the promotion tournament. Of course, you go down to the promotion tournament, you still have a chance to fight out of it. But of course, you don't want to. You don't want to be one of those two teams towards the bottom. And they can save themselves with a win over DAMWON right here.
Well, we'll see what they can manage to do, because this is going to be do or die. What is going to be the starting lineup for SANDBOX? Is Summit going to be there?
Yeah, that is the question.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to need him to probably be there for tonight's series, as DAMWON are definitely the expected favorites coming into tonight's match. And this is almost it, Alice, by the way. There's only 3 matches left for the regular split. We have gone the distance.
We certainly have. It's playoffs coming up on Saturday. That's in 2 days' time. Of course, the days are certainly a little bit different here in the LCK in comparison to you guys over the other side of the world. However, in a couple of days' time, it will be that first playoff match, which is going to be very, very exciting. Challengers career friends in the opposite spot. DAMWON locked in wildcard series, and SANDBOX is 1 loss away from relegation. They lose here, they are confirmed down to that promotion tournament, and that is going to save the lives of Life and, of course, APK also. If we decided faster, we got off 1 more auto. DAMWON Gaming lost their last series against Dragon X by, honestly, 1 auto attack. If there was like, oh man, yep. It was crazy how close that was.
Yep.
And yeah, Derek stole it away.
And which players will come in to save SANDBOX from the relegation zone? I think that's obviously alluding to Summit needs to probably be in tonight's matchup if they want to have a chance against DAMWON. What a cool matchup. Ghost has to face his former team when they are in the biggest crisis. I don't know if that's a cool matchup. It might actually be a justice strike for him, or maybe, because remember, he was a free agent for a while.
Yeah, and he was let go from SANDBOX in favor of Root and Leo.
So imagine if he's the one to land the killing blow in tonight's series, if he could get player of the game or something, and see what they could do here. So, APK, Hanwha Life, they're sitting pretty okay. If SANDBOX loses this, it's all over.
Yeah, exactly. But if SANDBOX are able to 2-0, they can even things out up against Hanwha Life, and then it'll all be down to what happens in their Griffin series. Of course, Hanwha Life will need to lose that one by a decent margin in order for that one to happen, as both of these teams are sitting on 6 wins. So SANDBOX just hoping that they can get a 2-0, and then one of Hanwha Life or APK are just going to lose.
I just realized something. SANDBOX and Griffin are 2 of the teams that came up from the Challenger Series.
Yeah.
And they're about to maybe get sent back down. And franchising is right on the horizon. So it is so important also from just a team perspective to try to maintain their slot as it stands right now in DAMWON. Another team that came up from the Challenger Series in recent times could be the one to send SANDBOX down.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually terrifying for any of these teams that are facing that relegation zone. I mean, think about Hanwha Life as well. I mean, this is a team with so much money behind them. Like, that Hanwha is a huge organization, and to possibly be facing relegation is really scary. APK as well, only just making it into the LCK, do not want to now be forced out immediately afterwards. And it's not likely that they do, as they have a few more points than their opposition down there. But we'll see, as this is going to be your lineup for DAMWON. No surprises there, as it's going to be Leo in favor of Root this time around, and Fate is back in that mid lane. We no longer have Dove for SANDBOX, which is, I think, extraordinary, because Dove has been one of their points of power in their recent matches.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have to see what is going to happen. What's the draft going to be like? And Fate coming in is... Could it spell their fate? As we haven't seen him for so long. When we did, nothing ended up happening. However, Fate did have a lot of experience in Challengers Korea.
That's true.
Maybe he's getting warmed up for the promotion.
God, for the promotion tournament. Oh, God. Well, this is going to be our top lane matchup. Noguri with a whole lot of good stats. His damage per minute stat is first. Second, of course, is Keen, as we saw in our second match of the night. Those stats were there for you guys, but Noguri is our other king of the top lane. And even if DAMWON are losing, it is Noguri that's able to pull them out if they are able to. His damage at 15 minutes is a gigantic number there for Noguri. Summit is third, though, and he's actually fairly hot on the heels of a lot of these stats. Goal difference at 15 is something that has been difficult for SANDBOX as a team to lock down, so you can understand why that stat is relatively diminished. And here we are, into pick and ban for game number 1. DAMWON on our blue side, SANDBOX. They have the red shorts, and they are going to be on the red side, so it works out relatively well here. As we'll see what the first bans are going to be now that we see these two teams on 10.7 for the first time. Kiana taken away from Fate, and Olaf taken away from OnFleek. Some pretty targeted bans here from DAMWON to start us off. Yeah. And not the most common bans here coming out by DAMWON on the blue side. It's been a while since Kiana has really posed a risk at all. She definitely fell by the wayside very early on. So, SANDBOX with more traditional bans. Yep, Kalista taken away.
Yep. See what SANDBOX's last ban is. Will it just be the set, which has happened all too often?
Especially against DAMWON. I think the Jace needs to look in as well. Of course, Noguri just loves picking it, regardless what he's against. And Varus is going to be taken away. So the AD carry pool fully hit here from both sides. These are the 4 most standard AD carry bans. But still a lot of things available. We'll see whether DAMWON go back to one of their old strategies, which is with the Kai'Sa. Of course, the Supercharger now down on cooldown a little bit towards the later stages of the game, and might be helping them. But Set's certainly an understandable first pickup here by DAMWON.
This could just result in SANDBOX going Misfortune Jarvan as a 1-2 punch. Probably not going to see OnFleek play any of the AP junglers or anything, as right now they're hovering Trundle.
Yeah, and Trundle has been our highest priority jungler, so this does make some sense. Interesting that DAMWON decided to take away the Olaf instead of that. As Trundle, they're still thinking about it, but it's likely that it is going to be locked in. And I wonder whether there is going to be some sort of set counter considered right now, because it's not like we're going to be playing set Senna or set Kalista or anything like that. As Leo thinking about the Kalista, but I think you might have been at least half right in your prediction, as looks like 80 carries are on the menu here for SANDBOX, and Misfortune would make some sense.
Well, MF is going to get locked in by SANDBOX. And now DAMWON on the left-hand side. Let's see what they end up responding with. It probably will just be AD and jungle as a way to... Oh, okay, so jungle first.
Yeah.
Not even going to think about it, just going to be the Sejuani. Now, some people might perceive this as a self-counter into the Trundle, but Ezreal getting picked up as well. And so now maybe champions like Yuumi and stuff need to be considered by SANDBOX. They could just lock in... Oh, well, okay, never mind. They're just going to hover the LeBlanc.
Well, they're hovering it for the moment. We'll see whether they actually lock it in. Of course, it is high priority, but I'm not sure whether showing your hand as far as your mid lane is concerned this early is a good idea. They can ban for it now, though, and they are going to decide to take away the LeBlanc as a priority pick in that mid lane. Few different options now available as far as bans. I would suggest Zoe leaving the Rift if I was a SANDBOX fan. And maybe something else. Yeah, Kassadin's another one that Showmaker has really liked.
Kassadin and Zoe, I think, should both be removed, most likely, on the side of SANDBOX. That way you work against the Ezreal-Zoe team composition. Set and Sejuani, also pretty easy to protect. I think banning away Yuumi now at this point, when you have the LeBlanc, it can't be a high enough focus. So we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, you could even see Ornn end up coming in as well, depending on what SANDBOX locks on R4.
Ooh, DAMWON actually banning Yuumi themselves. Very interesting.
Wrong script.
Yeah, exactly. You just turn the script upside down. Just flip it back. You'll be fine. SANDBOX looking for the Zoe button. We'll see whether they do find it. because that would likely be a very comfortable pickup here for DAMWON, especially pairing it with an Ezreal. The two of them like to fight side by side, but no, it is going to be the Sylas, and this might give away that Ornn pickup. DAMWON, of course, with the opportunity to ban it away if they would like to, but they might keep targeting the support pool here of Gorilla, and it's going to be Gnar. So Summit has been going towards the Gnar counter pick into the set quite often, and his Gnar's, you know, pretty good. He's only won one game on it so far, but hasn't been too bad otherwise. And of course, SANDBOX haven't won too many games, so nothing to worry about there. 8 seconds to go, and Leo probably thinking about a support here if LCK has taught us anything, but no. It is instead going to be the Aatrox. Yep. Summit loves this champion, and it's his most played, and he's going to be playing it once again. Hasn't exactly had the best season on it so far.
Yeah. Of the 72 picks, Summit is really driving the number up. SANDBOX in general, Lonely was also a Aatrox one-trick, as Corki now coming in here in the mid lane potentially against the LeBlanc, and SANDBOX's team composition, it's full of sin. Atlas, it is very reliant on getting ahead. They have nothing to go toe-to-toe with DAMWON in the later stages, and they have to utilize their support counter pick here. And it does seem like they have a bright idea to somehow use a Rakan to jump into the Sejuani set and Taric. Phenomenal, if I do say so myself. That was an antonym. Take it away.
Yeah, it's a little bit of sarcasm there, one could say, as yes, I will attempt to take it away as best I can. Showmaker back to an old favorite there in the Corki. He's been certainly defaulting back to this one a whole lot more in recent games, and actually been finding some success on it also. Having a look, his 50% win rate, but in the games that he's played, he's certainly looked pretty good. Ghost and Barrel on the bottom side of the map are going to have a lot of consistent damage and also some mid-game prowess with this Ezreal pickup, and we've just seen Taric really launch into priority here in the LCK, and Noguri needs no introduction on his set. Canyon also is one of our sort of old Sejuani favoring junglers who does like to play that more controlled style and get himself to a powerful state in the later stages of the game. You mentioned self-counter pick though, and we'll see whether Canyon is going to pick up the fleet footwork in order to keep himself safe. These are going to be your rosters, and LS, what's the prediction?
The prediction for me is that DAMWON is going to win. I think that the draft isn't really close in any regard. By the time the third dragon would end up spawning inside of the game, the Corki and Ezreal are online. Set should have way more value than Aatrox at that point. And this is, again, just assuming the natural tendency of what should happen in all of these lane matchups. Obviously, there could be a wrench thrown into it, but I feel SANDBOX's ask is just way too high this game.
It's looking a little bit rough. Also, DAMWON has been performing much better in their recent games. They should have won the Dragon X series, and now we'll see whether they can get their revenge here up against SANDBOX, sending them to the promotion tournament. Here we are onto the Rift for our final game of the night of our 3 best of 3 days, the last one here of this season. We may have another one for the promotion tournament, but we'll see exactly what does happen there, because that one is still a ways away. As Leo towards the bottom side, Gorilla just poking his head in, is going to spot out Beryl there, but no funny business here in the early game by the looks. And just maybe a cheeky ward there on the red buff. Didn't see it. No, didn't actually go down. As I will see where Gorilla is going to get his vision. Having a look at Fate and Leo. Both of them coming off losses, as it was March, early March was the last game that Fate had. And versus T1, Leo playing against his former team, and unable to find the win there either in February. Unfortunately, Fate actually is 0-4 so far. And a surprise that SANDBOX aren't running Dove there in the mid lane, who has certainly been a little bit more consistent.
And you can also just see how confident Showmaker is here in mid. He has the Sapphire Crystal as well as their refillable. Canyon moving in here with the sweeping lens, and Nuggery going to be able to take that down. Now this is really interesting. They're going to come in, they can click that ward and tell who just placed it. They didn't kill it. This is scary on Smite fights. barrels here as well, though.
Yeah, Facebreaker coming in, Gorilla making his roam up, but Summit is already down to 100 health. On Fleek now is going to pick up that aggro and is going to have to flash out of the way as the Permafrost does come in. The red buff now in trouble. Triple knock up there from Gorilla. First blood going over to Fate. And now Nogari's going to go down as well. It's a 3-man Facebreaker, but it's his face that's going to be broken in the end. Sent to the death chamber here, and already 2 dead at 2 minutes.
And, okay, so if you're SANDBOX now, at this point, you're just feeling so good about this game. Showmaker wasn't able to go because everything was taking place on the right-hand side of the map. I'm not sure what the XP is between these two top laners as it currently stands. I didn't see at what point Summit arrived to the lane. However, SANDBOX, I mean, they're starting off with a really big victory. Trundle gets the recall into a jungle item.
Yeah, that's crazy.
As well. And now Sejuani, I mean, she's taking her time, you know? You leave her alone now. Let's stop bullying her.
그래 라인 땡겨. 네,
Certainly
땡겨.
not, but let's listen in on the players from ProView.
못 준다 못 준다 못 준다 못 준다.
가는 중 가는 중. 안 보인다. 탈릭도 안 보인다. 탈릭도 안 보여. 탈릭도 안 보여.
Tard
탈릭
coming through, Tard
탈릭도 안
coming through.
보이는데 이제는 탈탈 수도 있어. 이제 탈탈 수도
Ezreal
있어.
can teleport here.
아래쪽 봐. 아래쪽 봐. 탈릭 왔다. 탈릭 왔다. 이제 탈탈 수 있다. 이제 탈탈 수 있다. 이제 탈탈 수 있다. 나왔어?
스마스하면 돼요? 레드.
오케이.
내가 먹었어 얘들아 내가 먹었어 얘들아
I got
내가
it.
먹었어 얘들아
나이스 나이스.
내가 먹었어 얘들아
라인 밀고 있어요.
Gonna kept saying
이제
he got it.
Yeah, he did get it.
He did get it. He said it like 6 times or something. As
Oh no,
Nuggery
Summit is getting absolutely zoned.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's
he
really
died,
weird.
remember, guys. And that's going to be a huge experience gap as well. Level 3 to the level 2. As OnFleek is here on the bottom side of the map in full vision of DAMWON. And you can see he's bullying Canyon. But honestly, it feels like it doesn't matter as Nogari has already smashed his way back into relevance in this lane.
4. Summit still not 3. Even after that, picking up those minions. I don't know what kind of a level lead this is.
Well,
But this
it's
is
large.
massive, yeah. It's very big. Canyon gets a Scuttle Crab. And you can see Fate and On Fleek, they're trying to do something meaningful. Oh, man. Well, they...
Well, Summit's just dead, I think.
What?
He's going to flash immediately. That was a flash on the spot. Not exactly what you want. His teleport will be coming through. Summit should be dying here as Showmaker's going to be delivered the kill. And DAMWON answering back already. They're only 500 gold down as Beryl gets himself his Guardian Shield. Is going to keep himself alive there from the double up as we have a look at the bottom lane. So far, Leo doing pretty well.
Leo is doing okay on the Misfortune. Obviously, there is a really big minion wave, and remember, Ghost does have teleport, so all things considered, everything is... This is a bit of a Twilight Zone. Top lane is over in this game. Summit is level 3. Nuggery really close to level 6.
Yeah.
Let's just go silent for a second to really let that resonate with the collective as we've got our trade happening down here in bottom. It's not going to be the end of the world. And things are pretty problematic. So, Corki also winning in CS. Doesn't really matter about this chip damage that Leo and Gorilla are managing to get. Fleek's going to pick up the Ocean Dragon, but Set is itemizing for Lane Kingdom here against the Aatrox.
Also works against the Trundle as well. So if he is actually in a 2v2 situation topside, then he's going to get a lot of value out of that. Executioner's calling. I don't mind the pickup whatsoever. As OnFleek will be able to take this one down very easily, and then King's Tribute should be able to get him back into his jungle pretty effectively also, as you can see, back up to half health. No worries there at all. So 1-0-1 for the Trundle, being able to be the beneficiary of some early action there is Showmaker going to go back to base, and we're having a look at something. Teleport back in, and he may as well teleport back and collect himself a kill.
Yep. So this was really peculiar.
오!
Aatrox, he goes near the...
오야
He just made it a slurp sound.
You said, oh, yum.
And Summit, he goes
mukbang
towards
there.
the brush thinking that Sejuani might be alone inside of it, but you just saw the crab die. So you had the animation. You know that even if she's in there, you're not going to be killing her. And so that's what was so surprising. Okay, well, another big trade happening up here in top lane. And Canyon is a little bit bloodthirsty with the spellbook on the Sejuani. Has Ignite.
Okay, we've got some Ignite Smite action here for the Sejuani. So not wanting to do any flashing or anything like that. As Showmaker going to Valkyrie, but not actually going to find an escape from these chains. Fate doing a lot of work here. But Showmaker doesn't have teleport, but he does have a CS advantage. He can go back and grab himself another item. We've been seeing a lot of this from Showmaker, the tier start on the Corki as Summit. Going to take a lot of damage here. Haymaker is going to come down as Canyon, not level 6 just yet, and so isn't going to be able to offer anything. And he's just going to come through, steal away some XP, and now get back into position and try and clear out some vision if he can. On Fleek's level 5.
Yeah, on Fleek is level 5. I don't know what Canyon's doing. He's trying to Sin right now with Sejuani. And he's also providing some coverage for Nuguri up here on the top lane. This is one of the timings where Set could end up dying, and this actually relieves a lot of pressure for Summit, so this is really good. By On Fleek, you can see Nuguri trying to stay in XP range. World Ender.
Yeah, he's just going to use the Showstopper to try and create distance, but there's a LeBlanc coming up the river, and so he's just going to die.
And so Nuguri, with all of the pushing over and over and over, not getting the most value. And this is something that he does inside of the lane. So even though he's itemized for Lane Kingdom with the Executioner's Calling, by constantly pushing over and over into the Aatrox, not really creating a lot of safety for himself. He doesn't have the flash. And if Canyon isn't going to be able to find a gank, then things begin to get problematic. So we'll have to see what ends up happening now, as top lane is almost back to being stabilized. And the fact that this has happened after that opening is just unfathomable.
Yeah, Nuguri had the lane exactly where he wanted it. But thankfully, I mean, for SANDBOX, they did already have that slight advantage that they built up with the level 1 play. And so that might be helping them get back to relevance here with the extra gold that they had picked up. On Fleek also continuing to have 100% kill contribution. The Trundle is shaping up to move into a mid-game very, very nicely as we have a look at this once again from ProView.
맛 많이 보자. 맛 많이 봐. 맛있어 이거.
화이팅 화이팅.
맛있어. 맛이 아주 좋아 여기.
야 이거 방금 전혀 쳐볼래?
You said much or so, which means like tasty.
Yeah. Or awesome, yeah.
Yeah, they were just saying it's yummy, it's yummy.
Yep.
Tasty, tasty Nuguri, I guess.
As Canyon now going to move over and try to do the Scuttle Crab. You see all the pings going down onto it, though. And
Package
I don't
is
know,
collected, though.
Is Leo... I think they're trying to rotate for this, and yeah, they're running over. Canyon probably knows that the jig is up. Gets the bad news bears. He did take Shelly on a bit of an adventure. She normally doesn't get to go that far.
Yeah.
She got to do some sightseeing.
Well, that's all right. That's lovely.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the security around her lowered. She got to travel a little bit further that day.
Well, Fate popping on over here. Summit in position as well. Showmaker has a package to deliver. There's the Showstopper coming out of Nuguri. Does have Haymaker still available as the World Ender comes in. Haymaker's pretty good. Facebreaker. Flash immediately up, and On Fleek's going to flash in as well. There's a kill going over to Ghost, though, as Leo is very low. Package also has to be walked down. But it looks like Shelly is going to have control by SANDBOX. But still, 4 versus 4, Gorilla and Nuguri both dead, and Shelly is going to revert back to her pit, and it looks like with the health bar lead, DAMWON are going to be able to take it down.
Yeah, and Taric, I mean, doing such a fantastic job. Everyone's back to full HP in this fight as well. Pretty nice champion, if I do say so.
Solid champion. Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
Canyon.
And that's a kill going over to Ghost as well, so he might be able to get himself back into some relevance on the bottom side as he's rushing towards his Manamune. That's already done for Showmaker also.
And the thing that's happening in this game is Infernal Dragon is live. And so we'll see what transpires over the next team fight. This was definitely peculiar by Nuguri. He's so far forward. He ends up using... Okay, we're back at live.
Fight towards the bottom side. Ghost is dead. Yep. There we go.
All right, well, that's going to be Infernal Dragon going over to DAMWON. Now, the unfortunate thing for SANDBOX, I'm sorry. The unfortunate thing for SANDBOX is if Mountain comes up next, then that could be bad news bears. Extra resistances, especially armor ones, is really problematic for SANDBOX's team composition.
Yeah, that's assuming DAMWON can get some control, but it is going to be a Cloud Drake because this is the LCK, and we just like Cloud Drakes. We had a lot of Oceans, but it's all done now. As we're going to have a look at this team fight once again. DAMWON were able to come out ahead somehow and take themselves Shelly, but Ghost throwing away that slight advantage in the bottom lane immediately afterwards.
And, well, the MF Ultimate comes out. This was one of the first times I ever got to see a Corki package have this much power. You can just see how much On Fleek was slowed. And honestly, Ghost, I don't know where or what adventure he was trying to go on with his pathing, but SANDBOX obviously waiting in the wings to try to capitalize on it as Trundle, Pillar.
Yeah, that's going to come down in a great position there as Nogri is going to be taken down very, very low very quickly, and his fate is sealed as Fate locks down that kill also. I was just ganked by my cat. It's all right.
Well, 0, 4, and 1. So after the opening, I thought Summit would be the one that would maybe tint. Tint,
Yep.
you like that?
Tint?
Tilt.
Tinted Summit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I like it.
I have no idea where that word came from.
Well, it looks like Showmaker's in trouble, but does get the Guardian Shield there. Beryl comes through with some heals also. But Showmaker with his teleport might look to go back home, and Shelly's not even going to get a charge in this mid lane. SANDBOX mitigating that one beautifully, and Fate's playing out of his mind right now. 3-0 and 2 so far on the LeBlanc, and looking really strong.
Yeah. As SANDBOX, they are currently sitting at a 3,000 gold lead, roughly, with Infernal and Ocean.
And only Cloud Drakes to come up after this, so
Yes.
no value to be handed over to their opposition whatsoever.
Some
So it
pretty
looks
bad
like,
ones.
yeah, it's not great. DAMWON not feeling like they have too many outs here in this game. But they do have some scaling options. Of course, Corki building towards Trinity Force. That will be a big power spike, especially when paired with the Mirror Mana that's going to be coming in relatively soon. He's been on that on his tier for a while. But you can see that this lane is not going very well for the Corki, despite the fact that he is ahead by quite a large margin in the farm. As Ghost needs to hit some of these Mystic shots, to be honest. He's down by 40 CS right now.
Yeah. And as the items going the way that they are, Set is going to be going for the Blade of the Ruin King as the first item. So the sustain doesn't really have a lot of relevance anymore because laning phase isn't really occurring anymore up in top. And we'll have to see what his second item is going to be. What would really tickle me is the Black Cleaver here as second item for Set, given that everyone's trying to deal magic on the side of DAMWON. I mean, obviously, Ezreal does deal some hybrid, Corki majority magic.
Yeah, Corki's almost 100% magic damage.
Yeah.
His auto attack's even doing magic damage. So yeah, it's definitely worthwhile to pick up magic resist here this game. As there's the ulti to come through from Gorilla, but Cosmic Radiance comes down. Fate going to bide his time. Maybe not quite enough there as the chains are going to connect. That is going to be Leo picking up that kill. Fate playing this one out so beautifully. He's everywhere he needs to be so far this game.
Yeah. And SANDBOX continue to get really far ahead as the gold score widens to 4,000 now. Canyon sort of just running around and going to utilize the teleport to top lane. So we're going to try to prey upon the fact that Summit probably just take it away.
Well, Summit is going to be here, and the chains are going to break, and he's going to be able to pressure them away from this turret and pick up all the farm. Take it away.
Are they fighting with each other or what?
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. That was a very weird move.
I wish I could. I could try. I wish I could try to break that down for you, but I have no idea what that was. Okay, so this replay, Fate comes over the wall, lands the chains, and then the immediate follow-up from Leo ends up locking down Ghost. And I really hope we don't get a replay of what just happened. As, yeah, Mirror Mana for Corki. This has been popping up a lot on the Korean server.
Yep. Getting it that fast is very impressive. As you can see, Ghost's still working on it and does have some pretty spammable spells, but I guess Showmaker spending a little bit more time grabbing that one. Has his Sorcerer's Shoes as well, very close to his Trinity Force, but still needs to get there for that first power spike. Still going to be doing a fair bit of damage, as I believe that True Shot Barrage does spot out the LeBlanc, making her way towards the bottom side of the map. And 2-7 is the kill score, and we're over a 4,000 gold lead for SANDBOX. This is absolutely fantastic news for SANDBOX fans who want to see this team not get down to the promotion tournament with any sort of option of any way out, right? Because this will confirm that they're in the promotion tournament. But even if they win this game, they're still not out of the woods yet. They still need things to go their way. And they need Harmer Life or APK to have poor performances. This also needs to be a 2-0, so let's see what SANDBOX can actually do this game and the next one.
Yeah. So let's see what they can do to clean this game up. Now, a 4,000 gold deficit, or it's a little bit under 4,000 actually. It's like 3.8, 3.9. As that's not the end of the world for a Corki Ezreal team composition. They are allowed to be down gold, especially because SANDBOX doesn't have any way to siege. Or poke, for that matter. As, oh, the Haymaker didn't deal any damage, I think.
Yeah, it was strange.
Yeah, it was really bizarre.
It's alright, I guess.
And now Cloud Soul is going to be coming up next. Now, it's not the scariest dragon. It's not a game-ending dragon. Now, Atlas, I don't know what kind of a day this would be if we saw Ocean lose, Infernal lose, and then Cloud lose.
Oh my god.
Every series back-to-back.
Confirmed Mountain Soul, best soul in the game.
There we go.
As OnFleek doesn't find Canyon there. And he's just looking to give this blue buff over to his Corki, who's very close to Trinity Force, probably wants that for this next fight. But Shirley is available, and DAMWON are in position. Gorilla thinking about another engage opportunity, and so far he's been very strong on this Rakan. That early 3-man knockup was absolutely fantastic in the jungle. As Shirley is going to get a little bit angry, slam her head into nothing, and then move on back, as DAMWON do not want to try and fight this. As there is a big one, lands onto Fate very nicely, and Canyon makes his way back forward yet again. Showmaker does have a lot of poke options alongside Ghost as well, but Ghost needs to start hitting a few more of these Mystic shots and also start picking himself up some farm, because right now 148 in comparison to the 198 that Leo has. Leo, certainly, he is a former T1 player, so you can understand, pretty good in the farming aspect, having sat behind Teddy for so long. In fact, all of 2019 is that's where Leo was.
DAMWON being so eager to take this team fight, I'm not so sure about it. Blade of the Rune King active up.
Okay, Noguri down to about nothing, as Fate should be able to pick up this kill. There's the showstopper, though, as Fate gets exhausted, ulti lands, and that's going to be the kill secured. Cosmic Radiance comes down as well, and that's going to keep Canyon alive for now, and now Ghost able to get in position. As OnFleek keeps himself alive with the Subjugate, but that is a one-team fight for DAMWON, and beautiful baiting out of Noguri.
And now, I mean, this is where Corki Ezreal thrive. When both parties have exhausted summoners, ultimates, and anything, then their mobility, their self-positioning, their poke, everything becomes obnoxious. Very akin to Ezreal's Zoe. So,
yeah.
Now, Trinity Force complete for the Corki. I really like the Iceborne Gauntlet this game on the Ezreal, as the self-peel, the slows, I think, are super valuable for both himself and all of his teammates. As Haymaker comes out, it really looked like Noguri was just going to end up dying. He actually chained the superplex into the distortion, and then Canyon managing to land the ultimate. That was 650 gold going into the piggy bank.
Yeah, and he has the right skin as well.
He's got the right skin for it. So now, as we resume to live, it is time for me to go into salesman mode.
Okay,
Interestingly, Leandri's is actually an insane item on Ezreal 3rd. Even more so when you have Iceborne Gauntlet, because you apply the slow, so you get the amplified burn.
Hey, that's
All
true.
of his abilities have AP ratios. Now, some people, they'll comment about the loss of lifesteal that Blade of the Ruin King gives you, but obviously Leandri's also comes with AP, so that sort of has to be factored in as well. But the burn and the madness passive, a lot of people think madness only affects your spells. It doesn't. It affects your autos as well. Ezreal can apply it on lots of opponents inside of a team fight. And then lets Ezreal actually have more mixed itemization as a follow-up. We've seen some people do it in solo queue, but probably going to be the more standard route. We're going to go with Blade of the Ruin King. But it would be nice to see here, because everyone on the side of SANDBOX is stacking armor right now, not magic resistance.
And there's a lot of health also being built up. Trundle likes building health, as does Aatrox, and with the Black Cleaver building into his Death's Dance very soon, he's going to really enjoy stacking up that health as well. So understandable that you want to have that health damage burn, max health burn. But, you know, you still do max health damage with a Blade of the Ruin King.
Current. 7.5.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, current health damage.
Or 8% current versus 7.5% max.
Which is busted, by the way. Max health damage is just silly.
Yes.
It's very, very strong. Current health, not so good.
You can purchase that in the shop later on.
Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, sorry, I just say like, I say percent health damage, and I think I said max health instead, as Nuggery is going to put down the Haymaker. Fate looking for another opportunity to boot back forward, as Shirley is going to be spawned in the brush here, and we do have Cloud Soul now available for SANDBOX if they can get into position, and that is going to be a bullet time to make sure that they do have that window, as Fate's just going to pop back, utilizing this LeBlanc well. Did get caught in that one other time, but now Canyon ghosting towards Summit, and Fate looking for Showmaker. Not going to be able to get there, as Canyon does lock down this Rift Scuttler. So Vision going to be in control, as I believe the package was timing out, and that's why Showmaker had to use it there. And now not going to be available for the next team fight, as Nogari makes his way back through yet again. Superflex at the ready.
Summit?
Yep, Summit does have a flanking position, but his position is now known. Gets a knock up there onto Showmaker, taking a lot of damage, but Ghost able to get himself out of there for the moment. Gorilla in trouble. That is going to Sejuani denying the Cloud Soul, as Nogari is going to flash his way out. And that is going to be no one dead on the side of SANDBOX. Canyon sacrificing himself. However, they do deny Cloud Soul.
They deny Cloud Soul in a really clutch smite fight for Canyon. They also got a turret. It did end up falling. They won't get any of the proximity gold, but it still ends up being a pretty okay team fight. You can see Ezreal now, he's also beginning to pick up some sort of magic resistance, as he has a null magic mantle in his inventory. Corki, we'll see where he ends up going.
Looks like Hex Drinker to come in for the Ezreal. Not bad there at all, as Summit gets a really nice flank, but honestly it's just not quite enough, as Ghost not even able to get in that Cosmic Radiance for some reason. It was very strange. As yeah, the smite just before Canyon fell down, and Gorilla somehow survived.
Gorilla does manage to live there. Almost was just only a 1-for-1. And as we come back into live, the 4K gold deficit, it continues to stay. As Nuggery not going to be able to find his way onto Aatrox. It is a black cleaver, so if there's anything else to fuel your nightmares for later on, it is the reduced armor shred for the champions on his team that are all then trying to follow up with the magic damage. Fantastic.
And he wants to stay in the side lane for as long as possible, and that way he's going to stack it up for himself and not really worry about anything else. As Showmaker now just sitting here trying to farm up against Fate, with the rest of SANDBOX going to turn up. Not going to be any more sieging available on this turret. And DAMWON able to corral SANDBOX just a little bit. Nice W going to land there from Ghost, who has been picking up not very much farm at all, but here's the fight. Quickness comes down. Barrel's going to have to flash. Cosmic Radiance wasn't quite available as True Shot Barrage lands onto Gorilla, but otherwise it is going to be okay for SANDBOX here. It's a really good pickup. We'll see what they can actually get for it, though, because there's still 3 minutes on the Cloud Drake, and I don't think they're starting Baron anytime soon.
There's no way that this team composition is going to start Baron without getting a lot more value out of a trait. And, okay, got a team fight, or not a team fight,
yeah,
but
bit of a tussle. One could say tussle. As Nogari has to use his Haymaker in order to keep himself alive. I thought that the turret was going to come back and bite him. But you can see Summit does now have the help of Gorilla, as Valkyrie used by Showmaker gets himself out.
And Nuggery, I mean, he does have the set passive. There was also a Honey Fruit in close proximity, plus the Blade of the Ruin King, so has ways to sustain and stay. Now, if you ask yourself the question, why are DAMWON here? Why are we in a left-hand side river? Because they can't do Baron. There's no way for them to do Baron. The vision is wholly irrelevant for DAMWON at this stage of the game. And also, even denying vision is also irrelevant because SANDBOX can't do Baron. And especially when you have Corki Ezreal in such close proximity, there's multiple ways that you can check it, make sure that they're not on it, but no one has Baron in their mind at this point. So, coming back into live, it's exactly a 5,000 gold advantage right now. It looks like LeBlanc is going Banshee's Veil as her third item, so she will pick herself up some magic resistance, although it is very easy for DAMWON to proc it with Ezreal and Corki rockets.
Yeah, it's not going to last for very long. As a little DAMWON ward, that's adorable.
Okay.
Didn't even know that that was available. I think you can get that in the shop, guys. If you would
is
like
that only in Korea, or what is that?
I actually have no idea. I need to check it out. I need to buy one. As Gorilla, he's like, no, don't like it at all. gonna get rid of it. But that's super sick. Okay. Hopefully we get those sorts of wards for everyone, as Canyon not going to be able to take away his big chicken. And we have 55 seconds until the next Cloud Drake. Cloud Soul available for SANDBOX. Nogri here towards the bottom side, just farming things out. Does have that Black Cleaver completed, much to our dismay. And we'll see what he's going to build up as his next item. We'll see whether Mortal Reminder is actually going to be rushed towards or anything like that. Probably should be something a little bit more defensive, you'd imagine.
Yeah. Looks like Infinity Edge is going to be the item of choice for Showmaker. We'll see what route Canyon does continue down. Doesn't seem like he has a spellbook available. And the Lonk is just very slippery inside of these team fights. Taking a look at some other itemization, this is actually going to be relatively close of a team fight because SANDBOX, they are stuck on some of their next item completions as it does currently stand. So this is going to be one of those instances where this is the closest DAMWON might get.
Well, Canyon right in the front line goes golden immediately. Nogri looking for the back line. Not going to be able to deliver anyone in there. Summit relatively low. And DAMWON actually able to come out pretty unscathed as Summit gets his back stopped. His teleport is available. He wants to get back home, but it looks like SANDBOX have been corralled. And now Showmaker is just saying, no, you shall not pass, as the Cosmic Radiance will give DAMWON a way out from that Dragon Pit. Fate looking to come in, but there's the package, just allowing Showmaker to move back towards this mid lane. And have they got out of the woods, LS?
I think that they've managed to do it. It's only a 4,000 gold deficit. We're at 28 minutes. I mean, I think they've been out of the woods for the last couple of minutes. And what I was talking about leading up to that team fight right there is that SANDBOX, they have a gold advantage, but in terms of on-field battle presence, the items were pretty similar across the board because SANDBOX is stockpiling a lot of gold waiting for completions. So that would have been an advantageous fight for DAMWON if it was just taken by both parties. This is why gold scores can actually become misleading if you just hug them and rely on them to paint a picture for you. Because there's no way to get onto Corki Ezreal in any of these team fights. Sejuani, Taric, they've become tanky enough to act as a really threatening front line. Now, Canyon goes golden here. Fate a little bit too quick on his distortion, puts it back onto the cooldown. Summit gets repelled. Ezreal wasn't even here yet. And then they immediately start the Cloud Dragon. The Showmaker is the gatekeeper. And that's like the sign on fences, beware of dog.
Yeah, beware of the corgi.
Beware of the corgi here.
Good
okay.
chain gonna land. Yeah, fair bit of damage there onto Canyon, as you can see. That's gonna be relevant, but Infinity Edge is done here for Showmaker, and he is their carry. Of course, Ghost might be saying that he's relevant too, but he's down by 80 CS, and Leo is definitely the carry here for SANDBOX. He's doing a lot of damage, as you can see, starting off the Baron, but in full vision of DAMWON, who do have that Rift Scuttle vision. It looks like SANDBOX are actually trying to bait them into a fight here as Gorilla going down relatively low. Showmaker takes half of his health bar and damage and has to flash to get out of that bullet time. Fate once again popping over the wall, but DAMWON are able to deter SANDBOX from doing the Baron for now.
Well, things are really just slowly slipping away from SANDBOX in this game set. Gonna have the Death Stance as the next item. That's gonna be even more lifesteal and just resistances that are going to get picked up, which is quite nice for him in this game. Ezreal has a bit of Build-A-Bear workshop going on right now. Does have the Hexdrinker, almost Blade of the Ruin King complete, so we're not going to see the Leon Grease.
A little bit of a shame.
Yeah, the sales, they're just not really working out in this region, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you got to focus elsewhere. It's just sometimes things don't work out. Here in Korea is Fate. Feels like he's found Showmaker, but misses the chains. Okay, Gorilla trying to go in, is going to make it out with the Battle Dance as the Cosmic Radiance comes through as well, but you can see it's a really good sidestep from SANDBOX to back away, allow that ultimate to wear off, and it didn't get any value. Vision still being cleared as Fate is still being frustrating as well. Pops back, Canyon gets into the brush, and they have control vision in this area. The Baron once again going to be started up here as Nogri is fighting against Summit. Haymaker comes down, Flash and World Ender utilized here by the Aatrox, and the Baron's going down very slowly. Showmaker over to the side, sitting at full health, and now the re-engage. Grand entrance, but Ghost is going to be able to get out of the way. Fate just destroys him, though, off the back end, and you can see how much damage Leo is doing. Nogri with the Flash looking for Summit, but he cannot find it. as SANDBOX are going to pull away from the Baron for now, but they're still not done looking for the solo lanes of DAMWON. Now Fate looking to dive on top of Showmaker. He might actually bite off more than he can chew. The answer is no. He's not going to, as Noguri gets the haymaker, and Fate is not even going to die. And this should be the Baron for SANDBOX.
This should absolutely be Baron going over to them. Their lane states are a little bit bizarre right now, so you can see the pings also going down onto them. Summit is going to get back into the mid lane. And that was just Canyon, Ghost, and Beryl going way too fast, even though Showmaker and Nuguri, they were handling Summit on the right-hand side. Baron still had a lot of HP remaining. They just tried to greed for the LeBlanc. Take a look at this. So they're moving in. Baron's at 9,000 HP with an MF and a Trundle slapping it away. There was no reason to go through that corridor when LeBlanc was so low on mana and they were losing the dance. Nuguri and Showmaker were coming around from the right-hand side, and I have no clue what to say, Atlas. Sometimes DAMWON does this inside of games. They just throw things away, even though they managed to claw themselves back into a winning game state. SANDBOX quick to capitalize, and now they punish them. They have Baron. They've brought the game now to Soul Point.
Yeah. And now the Cloud Soul has spawned for SANDBOX. DAMWON can threaten Soul Point also if they're able to steal this one away. You can see Canyon not even going to try, as that's Cloud Soul now locked down for SANDBOX. Teleport was super late from Noguri, unfortunately, as the package is delivered to an empty bottom lane. And not going to be able to find too much. Inner turret also going to be taken here. Cloud Soul and Baron rotating around SANDBOX as they'll move towards an open inhibitor turret. And DAMWON seem to have just fallen apart in a macro sense.
Yeah. It looks like now, I mean, this is almost going to be, it's an 8,000 gold lead as it stands. Now, if DAMWON can hold on for a couple of more minutes, they'll be able to bring it back to yet another team fight, but SANDBOX are absolutely in the driver's seat right now. The other thing that is weighing in on this game is the XP advantage. You have 2 levels inside of the jungle. You have 1 level in mid lane. You have 1 level in AD carry. And the supports are even. So that is a bit of an upside.
But it's a 9,000 gold lead, and it's just feeling like it's fairly impossible here for SANDBOX. It's going to need something absolutely crazy to happen, and SANDBOX to really fumble the next engagement to let DAMWON find a way back in. And you can see Fate is just doing so much damage right now to anyone he wants to. Ghost is just dead. That's going to be the Trundle locking down that kill, actually. I thought that it would be the bullet time, but not going to happen. As Fate once again popping over this wall, and it looks like SANDBOX, this is the beginning of the end for DAMWON. SANDBOX, a great start in this series, actually. And Fate also, I wasn't expecting anything from this guy in the mid lane. I actually thought that it was a really weird decision that they were playing him, but he's looking brilliant right now.
Well, it looks like SANDBOX, they're just going to dive in here. This is going to be the end of the game, although the Cosmic Radiance comes out.
Yep, Showmaker trying to get some damage down, but you can see double kill already for the Misfortune. The Nexus turrets get obliterated, and as does the Nexus, and that's going to be SANDBOX with very coordinated emotes. Absolutely love it, as 11,000 gold was the score in the end. Congratulations to SANDBOX. They are 1 step further away from relegation.
Well, that was a impressive game number 1. Obviously, things started out really well for them in the red side jungle.
Yeah.
But then DAMWON clawed it all the way back and then sort of punted it away. Fate, though, with a really impressive performance on the LeBlanc, doing so much with her distortions, the chains also onto several targets at certain points inside of the game, really creating a lot of opportunity for his team, and managing to help SANDBOX drag this one across the finish line. But they're not out of the woods yet. They still need to close out the series.
Exactly. And look, maybe that level 1 won't happen next time around. Maybe there won't be a LeBlanc with first blood under her belt in that laning phase. And we remember that Showmaker was still 20 CS ahead throughout the majority of that game. So we're not entirely sold just yet on whether SANDBOX are going to be able to take this, but it's DAMWON looking shaky once again. And this has been a story of DAMWON. They show us sometimes that they're still this world-class team, but other times they're making the weirdest decisions, and there's a 0-4 top laner that's still shoving halfway up the enemy lane to die over and over again. And I don't know, man. It's DAMWON is like flipping a coin, and it landed on tails here in game number 1.
Yep. Definitely a bit rough. We'll see if they can manage to keep their mental and bounce back. There's also the aspect of this that they're in playoffs as it stands.
Yeah, they're already there.
Wild card. And is that weighing in at all? Because Canyon, he actually managed to win a couple of Smite fights, just barely lost this one, which was, they also could have just reset the aggro. That would have been an option here inside of red. And you can see Fate getting in there with the distortion, picking up the kill. This game just started off really good for SANDBOX. Also, Ghost down in the bottom lane, never able to come online in the laning phase as the Ezreal. Fate here, again, another roam that he ended up doing, coming in with the chains, allowing for the misfortune to pick stuff up. Nuguri up here in top lane, Haymaker. That was really good. He didn't die to the LeBlanc. Barrel obviously coming in like a paladin, sort of helping save that right there. Big shutdown. This was the turning point where DAMWON should have been able to come back inside of this game and find themselves some success, but weren't quite able to. And, you know, you have to also give credit to Summit. He's known for tilting off the face of the planet. And after that opening, I really thought we were going to say, or see a top open. But that's not what ended up happening. He actually didn't really give too much back over to DAMWON, despite how unsettling the early game was for him.
Yeah, and actually was able to just get behind, you know, Fate and Leo and allow them to carry through team fights and just be a big burly boy on the front line, or distract the carries of DAMWON. As you can see, Nuguri and Showmaker making their way in here, and that was because they were trying to deal with Summit all by themselves, and even Summit able to survive here, as you can see, dashing his way out of the Facebreaker. So DAMWON corralled in game number 1, but SANDBOX is going to have to do it again if they want to escape the relegations. And it's not even just straight up good news for them, even if they are able to do that. If they win here, then they will be on -9 points at 6 and 12, as Harmor Life will then have an opportunity to get themselves ahead. They're also on -9 points, so any sort of victory will get them away, and also they'll be on 7 and 12, 7 and 11. And APK has a very similar story. A 0-2 loss will give them -10. As we listen to Leo's point of view here for the end of the game.
나 타워 쳐볼게. 앞에 거 때려봐. 앞에 거. 아, 이겼어. 빼. 못 죽여.
I don't know what they just said just then, but that is a LeBlanc doing 32.3 K damage, and that really tells the story of this game. Fate was just on fire. Really beautiful stuff out of the new mid laner, the guy that was 0-4 for SANDBOX for 2020.
Yeah.
And he comes in and just honestly smashes face. Just really, really nice stuff by the mid laner of SANDBOX.
So does manage to redeem himself, at least so far, in this first series of the night. See if he is going to stick around for game number 2 and what that could possibly mean. Because we have to see him on other champions, how also SANDBOX is going to manage to perform when not having a super big advantage from the early stages of the game. We'll have to find out all of that when we come back.
Yeah, exactly right. We are going to have that 5-minute break before we get into game number 2, and we'll see whether SANDBOX can close this one out with a 2-0 and allow that fight for the bottom 2 positions get all that more spicy. Of course, Griffin are definitely going to the promotion tournament, but Hanwha Life and APK Prince might just have to keep fighting to try and get themselves out of the way if SANDBOX are able to win the next game. It all comes down to that. Of course, if they lose in any way, they are going to be out of the running. But this time around, fate is in their hands. We'll see if they can do it after the break.